Hi, my name is David Knight, and welcome to those amazing Psalms. Psalm 38, Come quickly to help me. Psalm 38 is one of those painful, heart-wrenching Psalms, but a few times in my life it has really connected with me. In fact, I have 6 different dates over the past 20 years marked beside this Psalm in my Bible. One winter day I was shoveling out a huge bank of snow that the city plow had left across the foot of my double driveway. Dig and toss, heavy shovelfuls of snow, until about a half an hour later, when something seemed to snap in my back. Oh, that hurt. And then I made the fatal mistake of trying to finish the job. That back injury was the start of a long journey with back spasms and weakness. That's when Psalm 38 first spoke my language. Verse 6 to 10, I am bowed down and brought low. My back is filled with searing pain. I am exhausted and my strength fails. And then verse 17, I am in constant pain. I wasn't in constant pain, but I began to understand the term chronic. So if you live with persistent physical pain, try reading this psalm slowly and let its words express your frustration to God, who actually does know how we are formed and who remembers every day that we are dust. Another theme in this psalm also got me thinking. The poet believed that his physical distress was caused by his sin and what he called his spiritual folly, and that God was disciplining him. Verse 3 to 5, because of your anger my whole body is sick. My health is broken because of my sins. My guilt overwhelms me. It is a burden too heavy to bear, all because of my foolish sins. Sometimes our physical ailments do spring from spiritual roots, folly or resistance to God or denial or relational conflict. It's not always the case, as the story of Job assures us, but these verses got me wondering if God was trying to get my attention about some unhealthy patterns in my work or family life. I wrote in my journal some of my soul searching. Lord, I wrote, the psalmist says his guilt feels like a heavy burden. And I wonder if I am carrying burdens that are not mine to bear. Am I trying too hard to meet other people's needs? Am I trying to move someone else's snowbank? Or have I been doing my work for you and ignoring your call to rest? Have I got my work-rest rhythms out of whack? Is there some sinful folly I need to see? And then the words of verse 15, I wait for you, O Lord. I need you to answer me, O Lord, my God. If you resonate with that experience of carrying burdens too heavy to bear, whether it's a burden of guilt, or the weight of expectations of other people, or worries that are draining you, bring them to God today. Name them, drop them at His feet, and enter into His rest. A few years later, other verses in this psalm met me at a very different time of inner pain and soul searching. I was finding myself increasingly isolated in my work, just as the poet describes in this psalm. Verse 21 echoed my heart cry, do not abandon me, O Lord. Do not be far from me, my God. Verse 9 to 10 express another cry of the heart that I identified with when it says, all my longings lie open before you, Lord. You hear my every sigh, and you know why the light has gone from my eyes. I wondered what longings the psalmist had in mind, what hopes and dreams that were unfulfilled, perhaps blocked by others, or what goals and passions had gone dormant, that the light was fading from his eyes. I felt his disappointment at missed opportunities, and perhaps his sense of failure. Then I realized that this song is not just a lament, but a prayer for help, for renewal, which began with being an open book before God. So, like the psalmist, I listed some of the longings of my heart, where I felt I was missing the mark, but where I wanted to see growth and new life. I asked God what dreams, desires, and callings have gone unheeded, and I listed a few more ways that I was not paying enough attention to the hopes and aspirations down below the surface. Bringing them out of the shadows and into God's light was both enlightening and freeing, and I don't think God was shocked. But at a time in my life when I was hearing more silence than affirmation and direction, it was so helpful for me to write out my own lists as a prayer. And then I closed my journal entry with the closing words of the psalm, "Come quickly to help me, O Lord my Savior." So that's a glimpse of how this psalm has met me a couple of times over the years. If it connects with you today, let me encourage you to read this psalm aloud to God. Skim over the lines that don't sing to you, but when they do resonate, linger and talk with God about the questions and the longings and where the light has gone from your eyes. Remember the words in the previous psalm, Psalm 37, verse 4. Delight yourself in the Lord, and he will give you the desires of your heart. I can testify to the truth of that promise too. Take care.